Okay, let's start with a question that's probably making your brain short-circuit. Can a $250,000 engagement ring ever be called modest? If you're sitting there like, are these people insane? Hold up. Because this isn't about money. It's about how we perceive value, status, and what it means to show off in 2024. Let's unpack Jennifer Garner's controversial bling and why this debate is actually a window into something way bigger. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. $250,000 is an absurd amount of money for a piece of jewelry. Like, I could buy a small house in most states for that. But here's the twist: in celebrity land, where Taylor Swift's ring costs as much as a private jet, and Ben Affleck's proposals rival the GDP of small countries, $250,000 starts to look almost restrained. Which raises a wild question: when does luxury become normal? If you're rolling in millions, does spending $250,000 on a ring feel like buying groceries? Because that's the messed up logic here. Now, let's dissect why people are so triggered by the word modest. My theory? We're conditioned to equate price tags with virtue. Like, if you're a good person, you don't flaunt wealth. So when a tabloid calls a $250,000 ring modest, it feels like gaslighting. But wait, what if they are not talking about the cost? The article argues the ring's design is understated. A simple setting, wearable on a farm, not a neon green monstrosity. Which makes me wonder, why do we conflate size and price so often? I've seen $10,000 watches that look cheaper than a $100 one because of design. So maybe modest here is about aesthetics, not economics. But try telling that to the guy whose mortgage is $200,000. And let's talk about Ben Affleck for a second. The man proposed to TWO Jennifers with rings totaling over $5 million combined. So when he gave Garner $500,000 in 2005, then Lopez $5.6 million in 2022, suddenly her $250,000 starts to look like a discount. Is this guy just a walking engagement ring inflation case study? Or is he a walking metaphor for how we constantly redefine excess based on context? Like, if you're rich enough, even your downgrades are absurd. But here's the deeper layer: why does Jennifer Garner's modest ring resonate more than, say, Kim Kardashian's $3 million rock? Because it matches her brand. She's their down-to-earth star who Instagrams her farm and home-cooked meals. A flashy ring would clash with that image. So this isn't about money, it's about storytelling. Celebrities curate their luxury like art. A modest ring isn't humble, it's strategic. It lets her have the status symbol and the relatability. Genius. Or just another form of flexing. Let me throw a curveball: what if the real scandal isn't the ring, but how we've normalized spending hundreds of thousands on jewelry at all? The outrage over modest $250,000 is just a distraction from the bigger madness. Like, why is an engagement ring even a thing? Why do we measure love in carats? If you step back, the entire premise is bonkers. A diamond's a rock. But we've built an entire economy around making people feel inadequate unless they spend a small fortune on a symbol. So maybe calling it modest is accidentally exposing the whole system's absurdity. Final thought: this debate isn't about Jennifer Garner. It's a mirror. It shows how relative our values are. To her fiancé, $250,000 is a rounding error. To you or me, it's a life-changing sum. And to the internet, it's a chance to virtue signal about what should matter. But here's the kicker: none of us are immune to this. We all judge value through our own lens. So next time you see a headline that makes you roll your eyes, ask yourself, what's your version of the modest luxury that others might find ridiculous? And why do we need labels like modest or extravagant to make sense of it all? Drop your thoughts below, because I guarantee this comment section's gonna be a circus.